Good evening. Ira Epstein with your SPDR ETF stock market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for the evening of Tuesday, the 14th of January, 2025. So today the PPI numbers came out, and they came out favorable. We're not seeing them going up. We're finally starting to see the stall, maybe the decline that can grab hold. Tomorrow we have another big day that we have to look at. You're going to get the mortgage market numbers, and if I were you, I'd say with a grain of salt, it almost doesn't matter. Once I saw the KB Homes take off the way it was, those sales, I'm going, people are just desperate to buy. They've accepted the 7% mortgages. It's the way it goes, and whatever they can get from a builder that says we'll buy down a certain amount, we'll get you here, they won't stay up at that number, you'll be able to refinance, probably true. U.S. Consumer Price Index, now that's the big one. I feel shackled. I haven't been able to do anything in the market since the first of the year that makes sense off the charts. I am hoping that between the PPI and CPI, those shackles come off, because I don't believe for a second that the Fed is going to do anything, which leaves me with the Trump tariffs. And if you get my written research, you know that I am of the opinion all these threats about the tariffs are going to slow down. They're not going to be what you think they are. We're already hearing 2 to 5% a month. And tonight I wrote up a whole article for my paid subscribers that get my full futures research. And I go into Mexico. And what Ms. Sheinbaum has done, President Sheinbaum, she's done a great job so far. I mean, she's proving herself in a big way. And I think when Trump looks at it, he will also see that to a big degree, that 475,000 detainees, supposedly, that they've held back since October. That's big. 2,200 pounds of fentanyl. It's a dent. It's not a lot. Make it 20,000 pounds. That would be big. And stop it going into the country. That would get everyone's attention. The tax breaks that are going to be given to build companies within Mexico, so they're Mexico origined. 15% of a car's components will be from the plants assembled there, Mexican in origin. I think these are important parts that she's doing. There's the cartels that she's attacked. She's making the moves that Trump probably wants. I'm not sitting here fighting for her. I'm saying here, I'm applauding her, just the opposite. They are doing an awful lot. I'm not convinced I can say the same thing about Canada, but they're certainly not an enemy. The question is, how does he deal with it? Well, I think he's tempering everything, and that's the point. As for the immigration, the migration, as for getting through in Congress, the different nominees. Today was the hardest one with Hegsworth, and I think he actually might pass, all right? I think he did well enough that he'd have to lose Republicans, and frankly, I don't know that he tripped himself up to do that, so we'll see. Do I think he's the right guy for the job? I don't. I would like to see a military man in there with many years of experience of some type, running 2.1 million people in the Pentagon and a budget that's insanely big. That's my opinion. He'll have to surround himself with excellent, excellent people, and then he can make, maybe he's a good decision maker, because the experience level isn't there for that job. The New York Fed Empire State Survey for January, that's going to come out at 7:30 in the morning. Chicago Fed President Goolsbee, he'll be talking at 11. Maybe he'll address whatever's going to happen. And in the afternoon, we're going to get the Fed Beige Book. But as I said, to me, the key is that I've felt shackled since the beginning of the year. And now what we're doing is, if you looked at today, we didn't go anywhere much. The market's marking time. It's waiting to see. It's got the PPI. Now what happens with the CPI, and is that it? Are we at the point where we start tipping down on inflation? One report isn't a trend. Two together is the beginning of something. That's my point. So we'll see if that helps. As we look at other parts, remember what I told you about AMC, run for the hills, down to 324. ARC up a little bit, but Tesla, which was up very strong during the early day to 422, gave up an awful lot of ground. I think gold, silver, copper, they're all waiting to see what happens with the CPI tomorrow. What's it mean for the U.S. dollar, things of that nature. Speaking of the dollar, you can move your cursor to the top anytime here. I've got a special dollar report on the website. It's really important because it will affect corporations that do international business. Where's the dollar headed? Where do I think it's going? It's only up for 3 days, so you've got another 2 and it's gone. IraEpstein.com, and you'll see it right there on the top left. Oh, okay. In TLT, you haven't convinced the traders in TLT that we've reached the low yet. It could happen at any time, but you haven't done it chart-wise right here. You have a pattern of a higher high and low, but you have a big leak. I mean, the market is really going down. That is why I think tomorrow could be so exciting, because this market's pulled like a rubber band, and it can just snap on you if traders say maybe the worst is behind the market. I'm not saying that'll be the case. I'm saying if the report comes out vice versa strong, you still have the momentum down. That's the issue. If you bounce, the first spot to look for is 87.29 or thereabouts, the 18-day average of closes. And the reason I'm making this statement is you've now honed in on the lower Bollinger Band where the market is likely to try to find its support. We'll find out what's going to happen. Here's what you have to lose to get me convinced that this is more anything than a bounce. The red line needs to close over 21. At that point, I'll look back at this and say, I have a target number. Until you get through there, maybe the worst of the rise in interest rates is behind the market. In Dutch Brothers, you had a corrective move to the 18-day average. You held. If you come back to yesterday, and we should, let's see if I can get this, do it. There we go. You held into this. If it goes back up, maybe you get to the Bollinger Band number there. I'm sorry, I knew I hit the wrong button. There we are. And that's what you did, and you stop it. This is still in a bullish mode. It is overbought. It will not easily get over the Bollinger Band and run. It needs to embed like it did here with that to get that going. So that's the next step. CrowdStrike, you may have found yourself now where the market's trying to find its bottom finally. It wouldn't surprise me. Rivian, this setup could take you back to 1220 to 1216. All you need to do now is get follow through from today and take out this right here, 1301, and you open that door up. Is anybody caught? Probably gets a little panicked. It is not a new sell number because you're oversold, but you could go back there. In KWeb, I have been bearish, and you got your first reasonable bounce. Now, you're probably going to lose the embedded reading early in the morning. And if it stays lost through the day, then I think you can get back up here for another sell opportunity in this market. Got it? I'm still not bullish, but the market is too oversold down here to want to press it into a Bollinger Band. And I said that yesterday. Toll Brothers took one look, and that's what I'm saying, at KB yesterday, right on up, and that's not a surprise. Home builders, same thing. Once one of the boys shows that the game is getting better for home buyers, bingo. And I didn't say better in mortgages or any of that. People are just saying they're adjusting to high mortgages. They need a home. They're going now. They'd like to get it maybe 9 months from now. Whatever. These are home builders. They're not home suppliers. In other words, I doubt that there's a lot of spec homes for sale on their part. Higher high, lower low, right into the support, and you get a bounce. This is why I teach you here. I keep going. If you see that Bollinger Band and a major moving average, the odds favor that you're going to bounce away from that. If you're on the top, that you'll break back from it if that happens. Does it work all the time? Nothing works all the time. Is it a high percentage? It is. Is it better than 50-50? In my experience, it is. That's all I can tell you, my experience with it. In XLI, so now the market's going into this sideways action. I doubt that the market's just going to pick up and run on the industrial sector from the Bollinger Band and 100-day average, but it's no longer in a downtrend. And I made that point to you the other day and said that part of the market you've left. In XLE, you still have the energies and what the market thinks is a short supply. The energy sector, Spider, I was looking to see, they're talking British Petroleum, how its earnings are being hurt. So we'll be seeing all this. So this is running off something else. That's the way to look at it, which is probably Trump tariffs, Trump orders, presidential orders that are going to come out. Remember, he'll be president a week from today, signing away. He gets to be president a week, actually next Monday, so he'll get his pen ready. Higher lows, higher highs. Look, you're finding support in gold at 243.22. You're a bit overbought. That's the danger of it. And the resistance is the upper band. The silver trust fell right back down here, not trending, going sideways in the Bollinger Bands, which is what I was expecting it to do, and to spin around right here for a little bit. But overall, I'm still friendly to metals. The copper has no trend. It's got a higher high and low setup right now. Bonds, TLT, to the downside, as you can see. I'm not going to repeat what I said at the beginning of this. In the dollar, well, it doesn't look like the market wants to fill this gap just yet. Instead, the market seems to be fighting. You'll know you're getting supercharged back to the upside if you take out 29.90. That should give you an idea that the market wants to go up and fill this. So at least I have some measurement tools for a change, and that's what I wanted. And by the way, the dollar stops right where I was thinking it would, the first rally to the 18-day average of closes. In FXE, I am looking for more of a rally than this into the 18-day, and I think the short sellers will be waiting at 95.61 to probe the market. I don't think they'll hang around if you get over 95.97, and if they're right, maybe you come back down here, so we'll see what happens there. So again, we have our special report on the dollar index. In order for you to see it, all you have to do is go to our website. It will be up until Thursday, so you've got today and tomorrow. That's your full days left. IraEpstein.com. Move your cursor up here. You can get up to see it that way as well. I'm Ira. I'll catch up with you all in the morning in our morning flash video. Have a great evening.